The growing demand for high-speed networks is placing significant pressure on communication service providers across the globe. They are faced with challenges around deploying large network rollouts in a limited time frame, managing large teams across geographies, as well as multiple stakeholders, and diagnosing data discrepancies between operations support system and the actual deployed network. CSPs need a comprehensive solution that enables streamlined network lifecycle management across their plan, build, operate phases. This is where we come in. By leveraging our domain expertise of over 25 years in the communications industry, we have developed an intelligent platform called Network Planning and Optimization, or simply NPO. Our NPO solution interconnects with all networks and business operations of a CSP, providing complete visibility and control over their assets at the click of a button. The application can initiate tasks, share them across multiple teams, get necessary approvals, effectively complete tasks, and eventually manage the entire network rollout. The NPO is a platform-agnostic solution that runs on all popular browsers and mobile platforms. The solution enables users to create workflows and network, plan, and design modules that help build high-level network plans. The NPO also allows control teams to seamlessly accept a job, analyze it, create job packs, and allocate it to the most appropriate field team. Field engineers can access the mobile app for real-time network survey and field updates, and also upload photos, videos, and audio files. Additionally, the NPO provides a dashboard and inbuilt reports for the control team and management to better measure and track the work stack and status of various jobs. Here's a quick recap of the benefits Cyient's NPO solution can deliver. Streamline and optimize processes and reduce the overall time of your network rollout programs. Ensure a single, seamless view for all business groups, from sales, planning, field survey and construction, to operations and maintenance teams. Enhance productivity and efficiency of the operational teams through mobile apps that allows viewing the data on the go. Increase customer satisfaction and customer experience. Improve cost optimization by reducing revenue leakage and optimizing resources. Provide precise dashboards and reports to the management for informed decision-making. We are Cyient, and we are designing tomorrow together.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the presentation of the NPO, Network Planning and Optimization. Cyient has got more than 20 years of experience in implementing telecom network inventory projects using many industry-based COTS solutions. Using this experience, Cyient has identified frequently faced challenges by the communication service providers and has built a solution to address them. This solution complements and can integrate with existing product suites of the communication service providers. The key business objectives of NPO are to accelerate network rollout programs by streamlining various business processes which are followed by the communication service providers and various stakeholders. To simplify the activities and the tasks performed by the field staff by providing mobile applications to the field engineers to view and update all the required details on the field, including the network data. And to provide dashboards and reports to supervisors, controllers, and senior management for measuring, tracking, and monitoring each and every task of the projects, which in turn helps the management to make informed decisions. The NPO solution is a web and mobile-based solution which can interconnect with all the phases of the processes and systems. It is an easy and simple to use application which caters distinct features to various stakeholders. The NPO solution can play a vital role throughout the life cycle of the network plan and design, build and operations, right from the project initiation till its completion. The solution provides interfaces for the planners to plan the network, to create high-level designs and send the planned network data for the field survey. The solution also provides mobile application to the field staff teams to view and update the data on the go. NPO also provides interface to construction vendors to view the designs digitally and build the network on the field. And it also enables them to update the data for any deviations in the build. There are four key pillars or modules of the NPO. And the first one is the workflow module, which is the workflow management. The second one is the network plan and design module. The third one is the field operations using the mobile application. And the fourth one is the dashboard and reports. The workflow module is to create and configure various processes as per the needs of the communication service providers. It provides features to create parallel workflows and sub workflows, which can be extended to contractors or vendors. The network plan and design module provides a map interface to plan and design network data. NPO supports fiber, copper, coaxial, and wireless networks. The solution provides the cross platform mobile application for the field users to receive all the details in the app, to view the data, validate the data anomalies in the field, and also to update the data. The dashboard and reports module is to view, monitor, and track the projects in dashboards and generate the periodic reports, geographic reports, or build any custom reports as per the project information. This slide shows a sample workflow process of a network rollout, which is configured using the NPO workflow management module. You see that it starts from the project initiation on the top, which assigning to the planner, creating high-level designs, performing field surveys, and then send the data for the low-level design and design approvals. Once the design got approved, the project data can be sent to construction vendors digitally. And in the as-built process, the vendor can perform the as-built updates using mobile application and send the final design to the system. So that's it for this video, and now we will run through the demonstration. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to the demonstration of NPO, the network planning and optimization. In the course of this video, we are going to demonstrate the features and functionalities of the NPO. So I'm just logging in as one of the users, and you see that there are a lot of categories on the left side. So before that, just a line on the background of the NPO. It is both web and mobile based workflow solution and physical network inventory management solution. So having said that, I would want to first cover on the workflow management, since this is primarily a workflow management solution. So I would quickly go on to workflow management, and this workflow management would show up all the existing workflows that have already been created. And you see that there are a list of all the existing workflows over here, and we should be able to view them by just clicking on them. So there are three important things in this workflow. The workflow that we are about to see, we would be covering on how we are going to view the existing workflow, and how the SLAs are uh, related to the workflow, and at the same time the threshold that can be configured for a particular workflows process. So having said that, I would like to open one of the existing workflows. So I would pick this external workflow. So you see that there is a tabular format, and as soon as I open the external workflow, which is the name of the workflow. I see that there is a current state and a next state, and the current state and next state are basically the activities. We define in the workflow what the uh, from state is and what should be the to state. So the from state here, the first one, you see that there is new design, and the next state is design initiated. So it would move from new design to the design initiated. So similarly, as you just see that as you go to the bottom, it covers different activities, or what we call as processes. You see that there is HLD, which is a high level design, a field survey, and then LLD design, I mean the low level design, approvals, and then field construction, finally as built. So this workflow could be used for any kind of rollouts of the fiber to the home. So you could be having multiple workflows configured as per the process of the organization. So based on that particular process, you should be able to configure any number of workflows with specific activities defined. Now, all these activities would be defined by, like a one-time activity by the administrator. Now, this could also be viewed. You see that there is a tabular format. So this could also be viewed in a schematic view. So as soon as I click on show, it opens me up a schematic view where I could simply go and see that, on side-by-side comparison, you see that the first state is new design, and this moves on to the design initiated, and so on and so forth. So you see that there's HLD in progress and completed. So it moves on until the end, which is the last state. So in between, you see that there is sequential, and as well as there is parallel. So I would want to get on to the parallel schematic view of the parallel processes. So there is something called as LLD in progress in here. So from there it goes to approval. So from approval it might go to any of these processes, either completed, or it can be rejected, or the entire approval, at the approval phase it could entirely be cancelled. So if it is rejected, it could go back to progress and it would follow the same cycle. So you see that there is a schematic view of the sequential and included parallel in this particular workflows. So that's about how you are going to see the existing workflow within this solution. And the creation part is pretty much simple. You just hit on the create button and you provide the workflow name, and then you could give the from activities and to activities that would be configured earlier, and you should be able to see the schematic view. And finally, as you hit next, it would take on all the activities, all the sequences of the workflow. And finally, once you're done with configuring the entire workflow, you can just hit on the submit button, and that would create a workflow for you. The second part is the SLA. So the SLA creation is pretty simple. You just hit on the SLA. You should be able to select the workflow. The SLA is a service level agreement on how long each activity would be taking up in the workflow that has been created. So that's these are all the activities on the left side that you see for a particular workflow, and in the middle you see that the configuration is in terms of days and hours. So for each activity you see that there is a different time that has been provided here. So this is one of the sample workflows that I've taken from the existing workflows that we have created. So you're able to see the number of days and hours that are configured for each of these activities. So these can be configured over here, and once we create a geographic area project where we want to roll out the fiber to the home, over there, once this particular process comes in, it would automatically know that the SLA time for completing that particular process is the time that's defined over here. So this SLAs would be represented in the project in course of the rollout. So that's about the SLA configuration, and then we would move on to the third and the last part, which is the threshold. So threshold is something where the configuration tells us that there has been already a threshold that is configured, and as we see here, it is that you got to select a workflow and the activity under that particular workflow, and it would give us the option to provide color codings of the level of completion. So for example, if the SLA provided for a particular process is 1 day, and we want to see where the status of that particular project is, so instead of seeing what how much time is left over, you could also know based on the color codes, providing a threshold. So if the sample is 1 day of SLA, so 0 to 30% of the time it would be showing the project in the green color, and then you can further configure from 30% to 70%, it has to be shown in the yellow, and finally there's 70% to 100% on red. So these percentages and ranges can be set according to how we want to see a particular project in its particular process. So these colors would be shown on the project, and we should be able to see them going through the demonstration. So going further in the demonstration. Uh, the, uh, Out of the biggest features that are available in the NPO, we have seen the workflow management, and the next thing is I want to cover on the map module. So since we have already spoken that this is a web and mobile based workflow solution that also has a physical network inventory management. All the PNI management would be performed on the map module. So if you look at the map module, I would want to take you to the map module of any one of the existing projects over here. So as soon as I click on a link that would make me go to the map module, so you see that there is a particular boundary defined over a geographic area, and this geographic area is basically the area that the organization or the service provider has selected for rolling out fiber in that particular area. So that's the boundary about. So it's basically a geographical boundary where we are going to roll out the fiber to the home. Now on the right side, you see a palette and a movable palette, and it has all the different menus on it, and all the things that all the operations that you want to perform over a map would be possible by using these particular functionalities. You can call it map menus or functionalities, uh, the functionalities that can perform operations over the map. So as I skim through it, as I just mouse over it, it just tells the names of what each functionality is. So the first one shows the boundary layers, and it has other things. As I click it, it opens up some windows which says, do you want to see all the project areas, all the geographic areas, or you want to create a new project area or a geographical area? It has all those options. So the second one is network layers, which has a grouping of civil objects and coaxial objects. So in the civil objects, you should be able to configure all the civil elements like building, manhole, pole, and then you know any other civil elements that are to be created can all be grouped under civil. This can be further divided into whatever rollouts can be supported. Here we also have coax. You can have further uh, elements like copper or any other rollout. And then the third one is the info. It's network information. So on the second one, on the network layers, I switch on all the civil elements in a particular project area. As soon as I do that, it gives me the view of all the network elements inside that particular project, inside that particular geographic area. So I want to know what each element is, because there are different iconographies as I zoom in. Some look like a hut, some look like a circle, some are square, and you also have lines. So there are different kind of iconographies. So now we want to understand what each of it is. So for that purpose, we have this powerful thing called as network information. I can always click on it and try to click on any of the element on the map, and I should be able to see the network information. And on the left side, I see what element I have just selected, and on the right side I would be able to see the attributable information of the network element that we have selected. So it also tells us that it has the options of edit, delete, and cancel, and also uh, to highlight the element that we have just selected. So that provides the information of that particular network element. And also on the left side, you should be able to see the hierarchy of the entire network element, on what's inside that particular network element, and also what that network element is associated with. So in this example, you see that we have selected a network element called building. And in this building, you see that there's a rack inside it. And you see that there are further rack, shelf, slot, card, and port, the whole hierarchy of that particular network object. And also the building is associated with the underground route that's extending out of the building. So you click any of these elements, you should be able to see the attribute information on the right side. And the last thing of this network information is that you could be also able to see the pictures if there are any attached on that particular network element. And if you want to attach any reference documents or pictures or any kind of files related to that particular network element, you could do that from here. So similarly, you have a lot more options on the map here, which says network objects search. And then you could always measure the linear distance and also the area of a particular boundary. And then you have creation things like point layers, which can create either civil or coaxial or any kind of rollout elements. And then you can also create line elements or line layers like underground route, aerial route. And then further, you can also create some of the internal plans like conduits and cables. And then finally, you can also be able to establish connectivity. So these are all for creation of the network elements here. So this would allow us to design a particular it could allow us to define a particular design in that particular geographical area. And the others are some good to have features which are pretty good and would be very much useful. So these are about defining on what map elements, what the map module would allow us to do. We would also see very quickly on how we should be able to also see a couple of other things like if once the entire design is completed, how would you want to see if there's a connectivity that's already been placed. So first, let's move on to what the connectivity is about. I would want to just click on one of these elements, and I would go on until the last hierarchy, which I for sure know that there is some connectivity already there. So as soon as I select the port, it allows me to perform a trace of the network connectivity. And once I click on it, it would allow me to provide if I want to trace it upstream or downstream or both. And I could just say proceed, and it would give me the tabular information of all the connected elements. So you see that the first element is a rack, and the end element is on page 2, which is the ONT, which is the last terminal. So I would be able to export this results into any kind of format like CSV, Excel, or PDF. And the most powerful thing is that I could even see it on the map at a level where which fiber has been connected to the next fiber. So I have a button called Go on Map. I'm just clicking on Go on Map, and it's showing me a trace with different colors. So here different colors mean that we see that there's a red fiber that has been connected to a blue fiber in the next conduit, and then from there to a green, then a different color here with the blue, and finally it has been giving the connection to this particular home pass. So that's about how we should be able to trace the connectivity. And we should also be able to see some of the schematics, like if there's a manhole. I have just selected a manhole, and I see that there is a splice inside it, and I would want to just click on that splice. So it shows me details of that particular splice and what type of splice and what specification of splice. I would also be able to see the schematic view of what's inside the splice, how the splice has connected two different cables. So I should also should be able to download the same, and I would want to open. So you should be able to see that a cable on the left side with ID 226 has been connected to the cable on the right side, which shows 227, and this is what's inside the splice. Each fiber has been connected to a different fiber of the other cable. So it also tells the numbering and provides the color. So I should be able to highlight which fiber strand I want to trace, and it tells me which fiber has been connected to the other fiber strand. So this is a splice schematic. So that's what you should be able to perform over the map. There are quite a lot of things that you can play around with using the functionalities that are present over the map. So now we have seen two things, which is the workflow management and the map module. So both the concepts tells how we can create a workflow and what happens in the map module and what we could do on the map module. So how are these interconnected? We should be able to see that in any of the projects that have been created over here. So all the projects that have been created would be shown in the basket, and from the basket you should be able to simply once you're done with a particular process, in this basket it shows us what the current activity is right now, and what should be the next activity. So this next activity comes up based on how we have configured the workflow in the workflow management. So you should be able to select any one of these activities and make an assignment. So in the user management, we group users in such a way that it would exactly show the list of users who can perform this particular activity, and you should be able to select any one of the users and make a submission. So this is how we transition it to the next user. So once you click on submit, this particular project would move on to the next user that we have selected, to the next activity that has been configured in the workflow. So that's how the workflow management and the map module would be playing an important part in the rollout of any particular fiber to the home using this particular solution. So with this, I would want to move on to the next segment, which is the mobile interface. Since we have discussed that this is both a web and mobile based solution, we have seen what we would be doing on the web module prior to moving it to the mobile module. The assignment would be pretty similar to what you see here. Once the current state is, HLD completed, you should be able to move it onto the field survey. So that's when it goes onto the mobile. So the next thing that we want to look at is what happens on the mobile. So I will be taking you onto the tablet view. So here we are with tablet view, and using the web module. Once the web user assigns the project to the field user, this is the interface that the user looks like. Uh, the field user in the tablet would be looking at the interface like this. So he wants to log in, and he makes a login. Okay, I would want to reorient this so that there's a better view. So I just reoriented it. I want to maximize this. Okay, this looks pretty good for the view. So this is actual tablet that I am presenting by casting it. So you see that there are a list of all the jobs that this field user is having for making the current state as a field data collection. So the user would be performing field data collection. So the user would be getting some prior information that has been created by the user on the web. So here I would want to get into one of these jobs, and it would open me a map module as soon as I just click on the map module. So this opens up the boundary that has been created and set by the web user, and this particular field user is now performing a field data collection. So this field user switches on all the layers, and here we go. We see that there are a lot of elements that are already there. So in the mobile, the user can always tap on info and get on to the information of any particular network element. So here I want to take a look at what this particular element is. So this would give us the information just like how we have seen it on the web module. So here I should be able to expand it and see what all are associated and what all are inside this particular network element called manhole. So I see that there are splices inside this particular manhole, and there are 4 different underground routes that are splitting out or coming into this particular manhole. And I see that the information of the manhole is on the right side. Now these are configurable. You could have more number of attribute information that you can always want to see, that can be configured, and that's configurable. So that's how you see the information of any particular network element. And on the left side, you see that there's the palette again, that is on the map. And using this palette, what all things that field user can perform is what we're going to talk about. So there are majorly 4 to 5 different important things that field user performs during the field survey. So number one is the information of the project that we've already opened up, and the elements inside that particular network area, or the fiber serving area, that yet again we are seeing that over here. And how the user would be able to see the information of those elements, we have already seen that. So very common thing for a field user is that a field user often sees that the location of the particular element placed is not right. So we would want to correct any particular network element location over here. So what we want to do is I would want to just select any of the network element and make a correction of the location. So you always have something called as a layer modification, and I just click on it and tap. I just tap on it and just would tap on the network element and make a minor adjustment of the location of that particular element, and it would ask us if we want to save the location and yes. So this would be automatically saved as the correct location. And similarly, that's for the point element. It would also be applicable for the line element. So we would want to see one of the line elements being corrected. So this is not the actual path for the underground route. This is somewhat closer to the road. That's a change that we are going to perform, and this would also be saved. So the location, the geometry would be saved directly on the server, uh, and would be committed after the approval is made, and the approvals are typically through the workflow management. So that's one important thing that the field user performs. And the second part is field user could go to any of the elements uh, and open up that particular element and always look if there are any reference pictures of this particular element. So yes, we see that there are some elements that are, I mean, there are some pictures that are already provided as the reference. And what we are going to do, and what is the other thing that the field user can perform is to take some pictures of the live location. So once the user is at the live location, he could always click on the camera icon and take a picture. So it's something like this. It opens up the camera of the handheld device that the user has been using. So I do have a picture of one of the poles, and I should be able to take a picture, a snap of it. And once we are done, we could always click on OK, and it would open up the picture. And once we are done, all right, we could do some basic redlining here. I could add an arrow pointing to some particular element, and I could select some other color and draw something over here. And I would be able to also write some text. And reposition it to where it's visible. And once we are done, I could just click on done and it saves the picture. And you can always come back at a later point in time to see the picture reference. And I would want to see my attached picture of this particular element. So it shows me the earlier pictures as well as the new pictures that have been added. So we have seen that the field user will be able to correct the location of the elements, be it the point layer or be it the line layer. We have seen that the user can be able to see some reference pictures as well as take some photographs of the elements at the site. And then there are quite a lot of other things that the user can perform. When the field data collection, he should be able to do such corrections and pictures. But if he's been sent to make a particular survey, if the locations selected or planned are the places where we actually want the elements to be, the field user can also be able to create elements. So you could always select on this map menus and go to any of these elements that you want to create, and you should always be able to place them and create them. And it would bring up a form where you should be entering the details of that particular element. So you see that there are annotations that are given, so there's no scope of any typos. So these are configurable. All the details that you're entering are something that you can always put as specifications. And once you're done entering all of them, you can simply make a creation, and you should be able to see that particular element created on the map. So once this is done, the user can always go back here and can just select the next state and make assignment to the next user. And all the details of the field data collection that has been performed by this particular user would be visible for the web user sitting in the office. Now, apart from what we have just seen, there are some capabilities for some instances that we have performed, and those capabilities are about having a template uh, where you'd be filling out forms details, and there would be checklist, and those checklists would act as something that are mandatory for the field user before leaving the site, that these are all the checklist items that the field user needs to be completing. And once these are done, the submission can be made to the next user, and the next user should be able to see all the details captured on the field data and would move it for approvals. So that completes three things. We have just seen how we can go ahead on the workflow management and create and view and associate SLAs and threshold to that workflows. We have seen as a second segment the map module and what all capabilities you have on the map module. The third part is on the mobile. We have seen what are all the functionalities or the capabilities of the mobile. So with that, I would want to move on to the last section, which is the reports and analysis. So you see that there's a reports and analysis tab, and you should always be able to select any of these reports that are designed. And I would want to select some filters to see some specific data. It would give me a view of the pie chart view of the percentage of projects for a particular user. And on the right side, you see the names of those particular projects of that particular user. And at the bottom, you see the count of each user, how many projects is each user assigned with as of now. Similarly, there are quite a lot of other reports that can be generated or can be designed. I would want to move on to one of the report called the project report, where it shows me the detailed view of a pie chart view of how much percentage of projects are in a particular workflow. So I would want to select one of the workflows. So I would want to select the pie of one of these workflows. It gives me the list of all the uh, projects or the count of all the projects that are in a particular state in that workflow. And further, I can drill down by clicking on this. I can further drill down to show what are all those projects lying in that particular process. So this is similar for all the projects. So you could always come back and see some exact information that you want to take a look at. So this is one of the reports. So this reports and analysis helps the management for tactical planning as well as the strategic planning of how the rollouts have to be performed in an optimized way. So with this, we have seen all the four different powerful functionalities of the NPO, the network planning and optimization, the workflow management, the map module, the mobile module, as well as the reports and analysis module. So that's it for the demonstration of NPO.